Hi everyone, welcome to Good Bad Deadly. I'm Chris King.
I'm Alexander Boyd.
Today we're having a deep thoughts on Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight. I just finished playing through pretty much all of it just a few days ago, but like very early this week. It came out very late June, so I finally got our hands on it. Finally played through the whole game. Alex has seen pretty much knows all the content was there. He live streamed with us the other day. Probably not gonna be doing any more live streams for Arkham Knight just because I'm really like done with it. Like I played through pretty much everything. Just got to finish up the Riddler's Revenge side quest, and then just do activate Nightfall Protocol. But we want to give our impressions first of all on the game itself, where it stands in the series, and then we're gonna get into the really spoiler heavy. We'll give you guys this whole thing actually is a spoiler heavy video.
Do you just want to start with spoilers?
Yeah. We'll start everything. Nothing is gonna really left untouched and everything. By now, a lot of you guys have seen a lot of the other reviews that other sites have put up and stuff. A lot of them I agree with and stuff, but I think we have a pretty good twist on it and everything like that. So make sure to share this video after you watch it and give us your thoughts when you hear about it, and especially on the whole Arkham series as a whole. But let's go right into it. First of all,
well, let's start off with what it actually is. So this is known as the Arkham series by Rocksteady. It is. This is the third one, which is supposed to complete it. Well, it's actually a fourth one technically, but it's the third one by Rocksteady, because there was one in between, which was the Origins, which is a prequel to the first one. So it's Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and now we got Arkham Knight. And so this is the third one. It was played on a PS4, so we didn't have the problems like PC people did.
we have Gotham leaderboard, but I never care about those anyway, so there were problems with that.
So that's it. So we played them all. So this is just our impressions on Arkham Knight. So actually, you go first. So
well, I guess let's go down. I guess should we go down a category of the reviewing scale?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so for a disclaimer, I have scored the game, but I haven't written the review, and I don't release a score until I write the entire review because that. Sometimes it tends to change maybe by one number or so. It doesn't usually affect the overall score, but I want to make sure that it's completely accurate before I release my thoughts. So post it on Patreon, I will post it on YouTube as well when it does. I know it's taking long, but we like to be very thorough. Anyway, let's get started. The first one I want to talk about is the gameplay. The gameplay, you play the game as well. It follows very much in line with the whole series as a whole. And again, we're really considering Arkham Asylum and City here, but if you played Origins, I mean, that's there. we didn't really. I actually skipped it as well because I knew beforehand it wouldn't be as good, and I was right about it. No one really liked it as much, but anyway, the gameplay progressively has gotten better.
Yes,
that is for sure. From Arkham Asylum to Arkham City, the combat was faster, it was cleaner. Introduced a really big combo system, which in some ways I liked, in some ways I disliked because the challenges got so complicated. But in this game, it kind of felt like. Kind of brought both of those back together. You know, it was about like much of the hand-to-hand combat of Arkham Asylum, but you still had multiple gadgets like the gel and the freeze blast and that kind of stuff from City. So it was a really good marriage of those. I don't think it could get any better. The combat was pretty much perfect. Every single video game should strive for that kind of combat. It's virtually perfect. I never at one point felt like I made a mistake. I'm sorry, the game made a mistake. It was usually on me. If I ever made a mistake, it was usually on me. There was like one day where I tried to counter a few times, and I thought it was a controller, maybe because of low on battery. But for the most part, every other day it was fine, you know. And that's true good game making when I can't blame the game. Like if I've ever made a mistake, like I said, and I played the game on hard, so maybe it could have been that as well. But every other time, it was my fault if I made a mistake. And as you can see, I got through the game on hard and almost 90-something%. So it was really good.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, but my issue is just that is that it is too clean.
It is
like Batman could fly from punching this guy on the floor to like jumping, make this flip, and hitting some other guy with his foot because he just reaches because he's Mr. Fantastic. So that's the only problem that I have with it. It's just like, but I guess Batman's supposed to be man, but beyond man.
Yeah.
But that was my issue with it. It's just like, okay, you know, I'm just here just jabbing the buttons. I'm just pressing and pressing and pressing. I'm like hitting this guy. I was like, oh, I didn't even know the guy was up. Okay, I'm just gonna keep jumping around like this and hitting everybody once because they keep falling down. So that was my only issue with that. It's just that it felt too clean. It felt like too easy to be the Batman. But I guess this is supposed to show that this is a more mature Batman, more skilled Batman, because it is a third franchise. It is a later Batman. So I guess that's what it's showing. I did like the things that they added on, like holding on to you.
Yes, I know, yeah.
I really like that a lot. Of course, I didn't like when they tackle you, but that's just a
yeah. Yeah, that was. They brought in. There's also like a really big thug who. It took me a couple fights to notice it, but his counter actually moves faster than everyone else's. Usually, I know how to time the counters, and first of all, I was thinking like, oh, is the game making a mistake? Because I'm pressing triangle, but it turns out he's actually hitting quicker than most of these guys. So there's a lot of little ways where they kind of change it up a bit, but I was really happy about that. So the overall combat, which is much of the game, is really good. The quickly on the stealth predator stuff, also felt pretty good. I didn't end up using a lot of the environment like I did in Arkham City. I like to use the grades, or I used to break through walls, or I used to distract people. There was like a batarang, like a sonic batarang. So I like different gadgets. So this game was much more just like stealth takedowns everywhere.
It was pretty simple.
So it was a much more easier way to do that. But the biggest thing here, which actually probably the most controversial part of Batman Arkham Knight, is the Batmobile. So before I give my thoughts on it, what did you think about the Batmobile?
It took a while to learn how to drive the Batmobile. Again, I do like, because it's such a big place, like, so they had to kind of give you the arrows. Because at first I was like, why do we have arrows? Like, I just want to be free roaming and I could just see the map. But no, we needed those arrows because that place is so huge. You could break through almost anything.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, there was that lie, because there's a lie that it tases the people out of the way. Okay, I'm gonna run over everybody. If this was in real life, they would have been dead.
They would, yeah.
These things that blow up, they would have been dead. So there's a lot of little things like that that it's just like, it's like you have to just kind of just have that whole disbelief thing. But I really like it. I really like it. It was cool. It reminded me of the tank from Christopher Nolan's Batman.
Yes.
And then, yeah, so that's about it. Obviously, we're gonna see a rendition that looks like this in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, as far as the overall design and stuff, it really blew me away, especially the first time you call it. Really cool, and I never got tired of being on top of a building and pressing L1 and then the marker going down there, and then Batman just dives like really cinematically, and the Batmobile comes and he jumps into it, and the Batmobile is ready to drive. Like you just go. It is so smooth, smoother than like Grand Theft Auto. Like it is just so smooth. The driving itself. You don't really like turn much, like the vehicle. You don't turn it like in Grand Theft Auto or Watch Dogs, but it's much more like a strafing kind of a Batmobile, especially the battle mode and stuff. But I mean, a lot of people were complaining about how much you had to use it, because it's kind of like, I want to say maybe like 70% of the game is Batman and then 30% is the Batmobile. It's a really big chunk in the Batmobile, but I'm okay with that because we had 2 games, almost like, you know, maybe 3 games if you consider our Origins, where you're just Batman. So I like the change. And again, it feels much more like a Batman universe with the Batmobile. If you don't have the Batmobile, it's kind of hard to say you're Batman. You know, you need a method to go down. I was actually more like, I hope the next, whoever reboots it again, brings the Batwing and the Bat Chopper and the Bat Submarine and stuff. You know, the Bat Pod. Like, I want all the vehicles and stuff. So I liked it. I thought it was genius. It felt very much like Batman Begins, you know, that kind of feeling. So I liked it a lot. I mean,
did you ever get in the car and just say, "Chicks dig the car"?
Oh, no. or just waiting for the scene where they bring the bat and I just say, "It's not a car." So that was gameplay. Now moving on, let's go to the design of the overall game. We've always said we love the aesthetic of Batman in general, just because it's very gothic, Victorian mixed with like a New York kind of modern.
It's
very modern New York,
rundown city.
Very like and also like a very rundown slum kind of a place. Gotham is pretty much a dark New York. That's pretty much what it's supposed to be. I like it. I mean, it just felt really good. Again, I kind of missed, you know, having daytime.
What's that? I don't like daytime.
I know no one does. So that was kind of weird. I mean, but again, going to the canon, Batman only comes out at night. You know, that's the whole premise. He's darkness. So, but as far as the aesthetic itself, it looks just really good. Character models substantially better than Arkham City or Arkham Asylum. And Gotham itself also substantially better. There's so much little kind of pictures and weapons and stuff that you can see lying around, and gloves and masks referring to other people. Everyone's place looks really different and stuff. I mean, it's just good, right?
Yeah, these people took their time. There are so many, every little crack like you could get in there.
Yeah,
There's just so many things. You could even get into buildings, but just crashing into the windows. Like, of course, there's only some that you can, but still, it's just like all this time that they took actually paying attention to detail.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much out there, and this place is huge. Also, do like all the nods, all the Easter eggs and stuff. My issue is Penguin. Penguin didn't look like Penguin.
Yeah.
He just looked kind of like a mobster guy.
Riddler as well, just the Hawaiian shirt.
Yes. Riddler's trying to be the Joker and killing Joke. And Penguin's trying to be Falcone. At least that's what I got from this.
Yeah.
I think Falcone's a fat one. Whoever is a fat one. But it's just, but everything else is beautiful. You can see the bad guys. You can see, I did like that the bad guys that were working on obviously Arkham Knight. You actually get to see the camouflage in their pants. I like that. I like that this is kind of doing the same thing as the other games, where it's just like they have their own person. I guess who I follow. So I'm gonna try to dress like them. But everything else, the whole game was beautiful. At first, I thought I was gonna have problems with raining all the time, because the Crow told me that it can't rain all the time, but apparently it does in Gotham.
Yeah.
But it's so nice when you actually look at his suit. You see the bat suit when he's just flying by, and you see just the wetness of this leather or whatever.
The cape, right?
Yeah, it just looks so good.
When you're gliding and it's just regular, it's not raining, it looks good. But when it starts to rain on that cape and it's like fully extended and gliding, it just looks unreal, you know.
You can see it on his head too.
And like we mentioned that the fact that I don't know if this is a sweaty kind of nerdy kind of thing or something. No offense to anyone, but I finally realized that I'm getting to the point where, you know, it took us a while, but first we from the PlayStation era we decided now we can tell, oh, this game is made by Square Enix based on the story, based on the character design. This game is made by this studio. Yeah. This game is directed by this guy. And now I realized, before even looking at the credits and stuff, I was like, I think these character models were designed in Unreal Engine because they look so good. And it turns out, yeah, it was made with Unreal. So it's funny how like we're progressing and gaming's maturing, where to the point now where now we can identify engines. You know, like I knew Watch Dogs was designed with some Havoc, you know, because we're very much like Infamous. So it's kind of weird we're picking these little things up, but it's because it's a credit to the designers. Like, they look really good. It blows my mind. It's really crazy. So yeah, that's design. It couldn't get any better.
Yeah, it can't get any better. This is amazing.
If they made like another Batman game.
Oh wait, there was one. There's one that I was actually slightly against. Was Scarecrow's face. It didn't look like a sack. It looked just like a bunch of lines.
Well, it looked kind of shredded and stuff, but I think the thing is that like on Penguin, right? I agree with that. Like, he didn't look like Penguin at all, besides the monocle. But anyone can have that, I guess. I guess you have to kind of remember that it's like these guys have progressed to do this game just as you.
I don't even mean the shredded. It just looks pixelated. Like, whenever I saw him up close, it actually looked like they didn't try. Like, they just let's make some lines. They didn't render it. The
only thing that bugged me was the voice. It was like so really different from the Arkham Asylum Scarecrow.
Yeah.
It sounded better, but it just sounded very different. So anyway,
it's not Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, definitely not Cillian Murphy. But it was kind of different, kind of weird. So the design. The next step is replayability. The Arkham games, they almost feel like RPG-like because there's a lot of side quests. There's other equipment that you can pick up. You can upgrade. I love games where you can upgrade stuff, and it fits perfectly with a Batman game. So that's all back here, and it's more so because now you have the Batmobile. You can customize that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different weapons and gadgets, like I said, you can pick up. I still haven't fully upgraded Batman yet. I did upgrade the Batmobile though.
With the Joker skin?
I know that couldn't get unlocked. So the skins and stuff that look really cool and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to unlock. There's New Game. There's New Game Plus. There's like I said, all the side quests. I've done all the side quests besides the Riddler one, which I'm still working on. But at the end of it, you get to do Nightfall Protocol, which we'll get to in just a minute. But I feel like it's a good amount of replayability because I'm not even done with it yet. But it's not too overwhelming, and yet it's not too little. It feels like the perfect amount where, okay, I'll probably knock this out at the end of this month, and then I'll be done with it. and that's kind of good enough for me.
Yeah.
There's some games that yes, you should be able to play for like a whole year, but Batman, it felt like the perfect mixture of like homage to the other games, and then an homage to the movies, and it just felt like a really good, like a 12 to 20 hour experience. I think that's all Batman needs to be, you know. So I felt like it was kind of the perfect amount. What did you think?
Yeah, I really liked it. This is the kind of game that I would go to work, and when I come home from work, like late at night, I just pop it in for a couple of hours. Yeah, and I just play it before I go to sleep. Like it's always been that game. It's never been a multiplayer game where I just want to play it forever for like 2 years or something. Like this was just something that I just enjoyed. It was like, you put it in good terms, it's like a movie.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a story-based game.
Yes.
So just like DMC as well, it's just like, you play it for the story, and then once you finish the story, you just kind of keep going for the small stories, just like the Easter eggs and stuff. Like you go for, oh yeah, look, hey, look, pay attention to this and this. I was like, oh, I could go here. Who is this? What is this? And you just keep finding new little things. And again, it's still story based. Before I didn't used to check the internet for stuff, like where to go for what. So when I first found the Riddler stuff, I was just like, whoa, I've never been to this room.
Right.
What's happening here? Oh crap, I could have had this weapon this whole time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So yeah, this is that game. So it has replayability to the fullest of what it is.
Of what it needs.
Of what it needs to, yes.
Yeah, so...
yeah, if they added like multiplayer to this thing, it would have sucked. Like
yes, yeah, exactly.
Attacks, shots fired to Origins.
Yeah.
Origins didn't have a good multiplayer.
And it made no sense, like, who wants to play a first-person shooter in a Batman game? I mean, they had a Batman and Robin mode, I guess, which is kind of weird. But again, just didn't fit. You know, Batman just, he's about being a solo character. If you want to do a multiplayer that bad, just do a Justice League game. That should be multiplayer. But as far as Batman's concerned, it's so good. Okay. Now, the last category, because it's not a multiplayer game at all, is the narrative itself. And this is where I think we're going to transition from here to, well, let's save Nightfall Protocol to the end. Okay, but as far as the story goes, a quick rundown of the story is just, you're thrown right into Gotham. Again, I will probably say this in my review, and some will see it as a negative, some will see it as a positive thing. I'm choosing to see it as a positive thing. Usually it's a negative for me. Let me be clear. Usually it's a negative, but I think this is the kind of game where you should have played the other Arkham games.
Yeah.
At least Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Forget Origins. Didn't exist. or Blackgate. Both those games did not exist. But Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Because in order to feel the full impact and like the nuances and the emotion behind these characters, like Batman's relationship with the Joker, you have to have been there since Arkham Asylum, you know, and really get that whole back and forth that they do. You have to have seen that scene where Joker dies in the city, and he's carrying that body, places it on Gordon's car, and just flies away, because you could tell that he's like frustrated, you know. So I think you have to have been there from Arkham Asylum, and if you haven't played them, I think Arkham City is on PlayStation now, and now that Xbox 360, Xbox One has backwards compatibility, you could pop in Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Steam, you can play all those as well. So there's almost no excuse not to play them all. You should, if you can, go out there and get those games. But anyway, so you're thrown into Gotham, and it's just Scarecrow running amok. You know, it feels very much like a regular Batman episode because of that. Little by little, you're piecing things together, like what is his plan here, and that's the whole kind of premise, is what is he trying to do. Something out of nowhere, then Arkham Knight comes in, and now you're trying to face off both of these guys. You have a Scarecrow trying to, I guess, pretty much just induce Gotham in this massive fear kind of toxin. Arkham Knight, he's out there to kill the Batman. And then you have Joker, who has infused some of his blood into Batman so he can become the Joker and become a new vessel for the Joker. Yeah. So you're really facing off these three main bad guys, and then you have so many side quests with, I got them all already besides the Riddler. Penguin, Two-Face, Man-Bat is freaking in there, which is so like hardcore Batman stuff.
Yeah, this is like an animated series.
Yeah. Pig Valentine, which I never liked, which is kind of weird spin-off kind of villain. Deathstroke's in there, and then there's like two other guys. But yeah, I mean, it's just it feels like an entire comic miniseries of just like Arkham. It should just be called Arkham, and they could probably just do a comic series and fall, because it has everything. It has like multiple Batman villains and three main baddies and stuff: Joker, Scarecrow, and Arkham Knight. But I mean, I don't know. Before we get into like revealing who is who and stuff and what their plans is, What do you think about the whole concept of Arkham Knight?
I really liked it, and I agree with you that you should play them all. It's just like the same thing as saying, like, who's gonna watch Dark Knight Rises before watching Batman Begins?
Precisely. Yeah. This
Dark
is very
Knight.
much a series. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one ties it up because you have to know the past things. If you just dropped in there, you'd be like, I just got dropped in here, and I don't know what I'm doing. There's too much.
It was
like,
weird.
this would be too much for somebody who's never played them before. And even then, you can still pick it up. You can still pick it up.
You can.
You can see what's happening. And you just be focused on this. You'd be like, why am I seeing the Joker? Why is this happening like this?
Yeah, you'll be confused. But only from the Joker's side. Everything else will be explained.
Other than that, yeah, you kind of do have this little explanation because even though Scarecrow was in the past ones, this is the one who truly is in the spotlight.
Yes.
He truly stands out, and it's the first time he actually has a real plan. So it is still a new game, but the only thing that you'll have an issue with is the Joker.
Yes.
And mechanics, of course.
Oh yeah, because they don't hold your hand. There's no tutorial. There's like 5 VR missions, but that's mainly for gliding, and you finish that in like 5 minutes. So there's like they do not hold your hand there. There are hints that always pop up everywhere, but those are really basic things. They do not hold your hand. It's really really cool. I like that.
It's nice seeing the Rose Gallery.
Yeah.
It's nice seeing just that there's tons of people still there. I do like how they started off too. It's just they said almost everyone in Gotham is gone. I really like that because that actually shows, first off, people will stay back to be like, I'm going to destroy the city. People are going to stay back like, this is my home. I'm not going to leave the city. Hence the cops and stuff. So it's that kind of thing. It's like, I really like that they said that because I would have been pissed off like, everyone left except for Scarecrow. It's just, that would have been dumb if he said that. So I like that they acknowledge that. Everybody was smart in it. I really like that. And I don't want to talk about the rest of the spoiler stuff. But overall, story's good. And yeah, I have no problems with the narrative. I'll just keep it at that.
Yeah.
For now.
Okay, so before we get into the really spoiler heavy stuff, real quick, let's talk about that whole kind of scoring thing and where does this hold up in the whole Arkham series. Okay, this is assuming we don't know what's going to happen after this. There's a lot of references to a lot of Justice League characters. As well, I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they're heading. If I was WB, if I was the CEO of WB, and I'm not sure if they own Rocksteady or if Rocksteady's just working. I'm assuming they probably own Rocksteady. I would move them on to Justice League stuff, especially with the whole movies coming out.
I don't think they own Rocksteady. I think they work partners with them, and I think the reason why they made Arkham Origins was so that WB Montreal, which is that studio, I think they wanted them to kind of carry this.
Yeah, it could be because especially the Batgirl DLC is going to be developed by WB Montreal.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's a big red flag for me, which is why I said like it's already a complete game. I'm glad I didn't buy the $40 season pass. As much of a hardcore Batman fan I am, that both of us, it's just for a couple of challenge maps. Like
games are so expensive now.
It is. It's crazy. And I bought the limited edition, which didn't even come with the season pass, which is a big red flag for me. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna put on the $40. But anyway, so as far as the score goes, again, the way that I scored it was actually 5-5, 5-5. Which is a perfect score, which is pretty big. That's the first 10 out of 10 that we've gotten, I believe, besides I think Guardians was like a 5-5-4-5 or something like that. But anyway, but I'm going back and forth with the narrative and then the gameplay, because the problem I have with the narrative is that spoilers. You want to unveil who Arkham Knight was?
I called it. Okay, if you guys saw our earlier videos, I called it. This is the one that I was firmly stuck to, and I see a lot of people who work at a retail store that sells video games that I don't want to mention, and they come in all the time, and they were promoting Arkham Knight, and I kept talking about it. I was like, hey, you want to know who it is? And like, you already know? And I said, of course I know. And then I just blurted it out. But yes, it's I called it a long time ago. It just made sense. There was one specific scene that I decided this is my 100%, because I had two people. I had an actual new character who's like we never known before, and then there was this character. So obviously I debunked the new character. So there's a scene where he had Batman down. I mentioned this in the other video, if you guys remember, whoever watched the video. Had Batman down, like his foot in his neck, and a gun to his head. And I said, it's Jason Todd. And there you go. Boom. It's Jason Todd. So I called it. I'm very proud of this. I'm very proud of this. I win.
Yeah, the one of the bigger red flags for me was the Red Hood DLC, because in Arkham City, when you had the Robin DLC, he was in the game, and there's a really long exchange of Robin and Batman in the game, and then you had the Nightwing DLC.
Yep.
I'm sorry, and the Catwoman DLC, and she was in the game, a very big part of the game. And Arkham Knight, you had Nightwing, who was also DLC, and then sure enough, he was a really big part of the game. There's the whole.
Talk about City or talk about Night?
Now Night. Okay. Now Night. The whole Penguin side quest is just you working with Nightwing. So it's pretty cool, and there's a lot of talking back and forth about that. So
I love playing as Nightwing.
Yeah, he's such a badass character. So there's a lot of reference. Okay, so there's Nightwing DLC. There's gonna be Nightwing in the end, and then the final thing was there's Red Hood DLC.
Yeah.
And nowhere in the game, besides very late in the game, does Red Hood play a part in the story. But I was like, why is there DLC if no one knows who this is? Like, how are you not? Because I know who it is. You know who it is. You know where the origins come from. Joker, not even Jason Todd, but it comes from Joker. Joker was the original Red Hood. So it's kind of weird to me. Like, how are you going to explain that DLC if it's not in the story? So that's a big red flag for me. That's the second part where I figured it out, and I was not too happy about it. But it's a really cool twist. I mean, it's still pretty cool, but it was just so heavily like shoved down your throat. Was when you're working with Robin and you're kind of dealing with this Joker stuff. Like, remember when I told you there's a Scarecrow story, the Arkham Knight story, and the Joker story? Well, when you're working with the Joker story with Robin, there's a lot of scenes where you see like chairs and buckets and blood and stuff on the floor, and there's a camera, and it starts playing back in your mind because the Joker's telling you what he did to Jason Todd was he tortured him, basically. At that point, when they did it like 3 times, I was like, it's Jason Todd.
Yep.
Because I was like, they're going to play that, oh, he's dead now, because they even show him shooting him. Which, by the way, this game is rated M, and I'm glad it's rated M, because it's a perfect rating for it. But at that point, I was like, okay, Red Hood DLC, Jason Todd in the main story is Jason Todd. So that was kind of unfortunate to me. But again, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that we're just very mature gamers, where we know Batman lore. So I'm going to say that most people wouldn't see it coming, but there's that, and then there's a lot of other dialogue that I had a few issues with. Some of it was very spoiler heavy, some of it was very, not cheesy, but stuff like that. So I go back and forth with the 5 and 4, but it's still really, really good script overall.
Here's the question for you. Another spoiler for you guys. It's how do you feel that they just started off with this, how the Batman died?
That as well. That's probably the other thing that kind of bothered me, because, again, the Nightfall Protocol, you don't have to activate it. It's just there as an option if you want to at 2 points of the game. One is when you have at least 5 of the characters locked up, and the other one is the 100% mode, which is when you lock up everyone.
Yeah.
So it's not a mandatory thing. So if that's the case, the Batman never dies. You can just never do it, and he'll never die. But before we get to Nightfall Protocol, we'll get to that, right? So the next part is just the gameplay. I go back and forth with 5 and 4 because the gameplay is perfect. The only question is, do they force the Batmobile too much on you?
There are some things that you have to use it.
Yes, a lot.
There's
a
also
lot.
annoying places where you have to use it, and like, I have to do that again. And then destroy it. Spoiler.
I know.
So, I want to say no. Just because the point they made earlier, it's just that 1 and 2 had it. Probably
3, right? Yeah. I'm gonna agree with you. Everyone else is like, man, this Batmobile stuff. First of all, the Batmobile controls perfectly. Okay. Let's just get that out of the way. Actually,
it takes you a while though. It takes you a while.
It does take you a while to get used to it, but it controls exactly how it should control, even from a physics standpoint. Controls exactly. I'm not a scientist, but it controls it pretty much exactly how you would imagine it to control. I actually heard that the polygon count and the actual the power that was required to design the Batmobile was pretty much the size of Arkham City. All of Arkham City fits just that Batmobile. Like, that's how much the work they put into it. So I gotta say that it's actually perfect as a Batmobile, and it made me feel more like Batman because I had it with me versus the other games, where I was always gliding in Arkham City. I was like, this is getting boring, So it's good to have that mixture. But anyway, so as far as the perfect, I'll decide when I actually review the score, review the game completely. But so far, it's pointing to be a 10 out of 10 game. Now, it could get at least 1-4 and still be a 10 out of 10. So keep that in mind.
That's where I'm at.
So that's probably where it's going to be. It's not you know, it's not perfect, but it's like damn near there. There's very little you could do better that I probably couldn't even do better myself. So there's that. Now, where do you think it fits into? If you would have to rank the Arkham series up until now, like these 4 games, how would you rank them?
If I have to put this in one of them, like as the number 1, who's number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's do all of them. Let's do all 4.
Okay, so nostalgia factor. You know, Arkham Asylum has always been this thing, and
So
also
good.
I am such a fanboy for Joker.
Yeah.
This one doesn't count. Yes, Joker comes out. Yes, it looks interesting because it looks different. But 1 always has that thing for me. That place. I was that weird guy who actually bought the 3D glasses.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have those paper 3D glasses that come with a special edition. When I actually had the plastic 3D glasses that I had to order from the site. I forgot the name of the place. But yeah, they had their own 3D glasses. So I ordered that to play it in the middle of the night. So that place always has a place in my heart. So I will count that as number 1.
Okay.
Arkham Asylum is my first one. And then I'll probably put this game.
Yeah.
I'll probably put this one as my number 2. And then there's only one left. Arkham City.
Mm-hmm.
Origins, I don't know what that is.
Going back to the Joker stuff, I forgot I said the other one that I was hoping Arkham Knight would be was Joker's son. You know, I thought it would be it would have been a new character.
Have you heard that I think that Joker did have a son at one point, and they retconned it, which was Anarchy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very deep stuff and stuff, but in Arkham, they didn't really explain what happened to Harley's baby because was she pregnant?
Oh yeah, what happened?
They didn't really explain. I gotta look into it. Maybe they did, but I missed it. But I don't know. But it's kind of weird. So so there's that. But yeah, Arkham Asylum is such a good game. It was. I want to say it was the first game I pre-ordered, and I pre-ordered it because on PS3 you got to play as Joker, and that was like a mind blow for me because I've always been a Batman. But to finally play as a Joker, this was before Injustice and everything, was really, really special and really, really cool. I played a lot of Challenge maps just so I could play as him. And overall, it was the best Batman game ever. And I used to love like the old school Super Nintendo Batman games.
The side-scroller Batman?
The side-scrollers.
That was fun.
I wanted to play the Batman Begins game from EA, but it never, I think it was on that Xbox or something. And I kind of missed it and stuff. So, but that game was also really, really good. But Arkham Asylum blew me away. That game, replayed it like 30 times just because it was so cohesive. It felt like Resident Evil in some ways.
Yeah, it was dark.
It felt like a Batman game. It felt like the movie. It was so dope. And I actually hope there's no more Arkham games. I'd rather them just reboot it, and I'll explain what I want from a reboot at the end. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and say Arkham Knight as my number 1.
Okay.
Because it really, it's just better in every category. You know, it's just better gameplay, better design, better the narrative, definitely better. Just because Arkham Asylum as a whole that game is 9 out of 10. Like, don't get me wrong, Arkham Asylum is near perfect for me. There's very little you could have done better at that time.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little just buggy in certain aspects and stuff, but overall, like a perfectly whole game, you know. But Arkham Knight it kind of just gives that one up, you know. Like the design just feels much more Batman. The Batmobile, a very much more Batman kind of element, you know. So I'm gonna have to say Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and the Arkham Origins at the end. So that's how to rate it. Arkham City also a very good game, but it just kind of lost track of what it was. It kind of felt like Assassin's Creed.
Just make it bigger.
Yeah, just make it bigger. Just kind of add side quests and add filler. So that to me was a little bit.
Force Joker a little more.
Yeah, precisely.
Let's make him the Hulk.
The clay phase kind of spin and stuff. Wasn't really too big a fan of. That game would have been like an 8 or 7 if I had to rate it today. But Arkham Asylum so good. But I'd say Arkham Knight. I just was blown away by how whole it feels and how much like a movie it felt like. You know. So yeah, that's right. I think we rate it, but. Yep. Let's try to wrap this video up right now with the Nightfall Protocol. What do we think? What is your conclusion as to like where this series stands, and what would you want from the next Batman game? But first of all, let's go ahead and Nightfall Protocol. You saw the video. I didn't get to activate it just yet. I will be doing that very soon.
Okay.
But we wanted to go ahead for this video.
So let me just explain what the Nightfall Protocol is. I'm sure you guys could just YouTube it, or you could just listen to me say it. Okay. So it's everybody already knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. So he decided
at the very end of the game.
Yeah. So he decided to get rid of the signal, the bat signal.
Mm-hmm.
So he got rid of that, and then he went into his house with Alfred, and Alfred just has to make sure. There was a couple of seconds, and then it exploded. So those couple of seconds were very important, because there was a couple of seconds after they walked in, they went back to the news reporter while she keeps talking about it. It's like, he just went inside, and then boom, it all exploded. And, okay, so that's that. Then from there, you just see a scene that's very reminiscent to Batman's when he was a child, when his parents died.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very
reminiscent. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So there's that scene, and then in the rooftop, you see a person, just a person, and then you see the smoke rise, and then he becomes this weird thing, and it's just a giant bat, and just flies towards you. So, is it supposed to be a metaphor? Because he even stated the Batman is dead. And this is me now to talk about Tim Drake, because Tim Drake stuff happened with Oracle and Gordon. Whatever, nobody cares about that. So, what is that? What is that giant bat that's flying towards him? Okay, so obviously it's Batman using a toxin. Okay, so the actual Scarecrow toxin.
Yes.
It has to be it.
Yeah.
But is this Bruce Wayne? Is this Bruce Wayne?
Right.
Is this Azrael? Is this George Clooney's back? Like, who is this? What is this? And what does this mean? So in my mind, it is not Bruce Wayne. I think Bruce Wayne gave up being Batman, but I don't know what this is. I actually have no theory for this. I just think that it's just something that
it was very cool though, right?
It was nice. It was a little like afterwards. I was like, yes, like you know when the video ended, I was like, yes, that's awesome. And then the more I keep thinking about it, I was like, this is a horror movie. This is just like it's not even realistic anymore. Now it's just CGI horror movies.
I loved it. I was just mentioning to Alex before the video started. I'm not a fan of when Batman is killed. I think he's killed. I think we kind of like 2 times, maybe 3, in all of comics. You know, like it's very rarely that Bruce Wayne dies. He just kind of gets rebooted, kind of like James Bond does. Whereas James Bond also very rarely died. I think he died like once. You know, so
he ends up back in time. Not James Bond, Batman. Back in time, fighting his way back.
And those are really like those. Elseworld kind of stories.
You keep saying that. It is in continuity.
Well, I mean, if you read the new stuff, I guess, but I don't. You know, mine kind of ended with like Dark Knight Rises, kind of, and some Jim Lee stuff, but that was kind of it, and Alex Ross. But other than that, I don't read the new stuff, so they can do anything now, of course. You know, anything can happen now. But like, for instance, the Court of Owls, right, which everyone loves,
New 52.
and I wanted to read it as well, but. To me, it isn't continuity of the New 52, but it's not continuity for me because I don't read the new stuff. So, but anyway, the point.
What about right before New 52?
What do you mean?
Because are you counting New 52 as the new stuff, or still before that, still new stuff?
I count like this whole kind of era of New 52 today, and there's a little bit like they were rebooted the New 52 again. So there's like a double kind of. Anyway, the point is that I'm just not a fan of Bruce Wayne dying. I feel it doesn't really fit the character much. Not that he has to be successful or anything like that. No, like I mean, it'd be cool to see him be locked up sometime. It'd be cool to see him have to. He usually exiles himself, which is kind of enough, you know. But him dying, like I remember at Dark Knight Rises at the end, but when the atom bomb went off,
how did he escape that?
I almost cried. Like I legit almost. I was like, did they just kill Batman? Like that was kind of weird to me. But I think the exile makes much sense because he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to exile, so he just kind of has to do it at some point. But anyway, so. With this is the way I interpreted it. Throughout the game, the whole Azrael side mission, which is called Heir to the Cowl, which is so dope, that really hints at him going like, you know, I need someone to take my mantle, or he wants to, he offers to, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to test you, see if you're worthy. And it ends up that he's not worthy. But he's almost, you know. Nightwing offers to help Batman, and he tells him, no, I want you to stay in Bloodhaven. Promise me you're going to stay in Bloodhaven. And I think the only one who is Tim Drake, who he actually is going to stay in Gotham, to my knowledge, with Oracle, and I think they're going to become this new kind of team. And then they don't really explain what happens to Red Hood, although he does help you at the very end with Scarecrow. When you're locked up, he shoots your bracelet. So that was cool, very predictable, but also very cool, kind of like the family's back together, the Bat family. But he just kind of goes. And I think my assumption is that the Red Hood you'll see is supposed to be after Arkham Knight, because it wouldn't make sense for before, because then they would have known that what's his face? Jason Todd would have been alive.
That's
so
true.
My assumption is actually that he becomes Red Hood. So he's not the new Batman.
Well, maybe he's somewhere else.
Yeah,
this is like before it or during it. Oh no, it's before it. Let's say slightly before it, and he was somewhere else, and this is how he became the Arkham Knight.
Yeah, it could be. But they definitely at the end of the game he just kind of leaves, so they don't really explain much. So my assumption is that Red Hood. So the one is Tim Drake is still there, but he's Robin. There's not really a need for him to become Batman because he never becomes Batman. But he's Robin, so it just makes sense for that. And of course, we don't know if Damian Wade exists in this universe.
And he wouldn't be that big.
He does, yeah, as well. He doesn't, exactly. So anyway,
he's been 11 years old for like 50 years.
But there is a lot of stuff with Jim Gordon. Like he's the one who's mourning the Batman. He clearly wants the Batman to still be there. So my assumption is this: it is absolutely 100% the fear toxin. Mm-hmm. Some people were like, "Is this moral? Is it not moral?" And actually, it is. Because they're using it for the criminals. And it's not to derange them. It's just to mainly show them that there is something to be afraid of. Yep. And Batman is the epitome of fear. That is his whole purpose.
Also, the bad guys actually stated that at the time. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're not scared of that. The bat's not here anymore.
Mm-hmm. So, my assumption is one of two things. Because, again, the house blowing up, there's two things Batman would never do. He would never commit suicide. And number two is he would never kill someone else.
Yep.
And Alfred was with him very clearly, so he would. And the last person he would kill is Alfred. That's pretty much his father.
Even though he's already dying.
Yeah.
So old.
Remember in Batman Robin when he's dying, and you have to get the
that game never. I mean, that movie never happened.
It never ends. We always have to bring it up at some point, True. I will say Alfred was the best part of the movie because he got the same actor from. Anyway.
So old.
I know. So anyway, my assumption is just one of two things. Either Bruce Wayne gets a hold of this toxin and gives it to, I guess, or he's the one who's using it, and he is just kind of has it over a blanket over the city, so whenever he needs to activate it, it's just kind of activated.
Or the source.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Or two is Jim Gordon has it, and the city of Gotham has it.
Spoilers!
So they are the ones who are using it.
Okay, so here's a spoiler for the comics. So if you guys read the comics, here's a spoiler for it. The newest comic of Batman is actually Jim Gordon as Batman. Mm-hmm. So that might just be a small nod to that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's no way that he's the Batman now because he's so old in this game. But I think that is the idea.
Do you see his arms? He's like strong.
Oh, not Arkham. Yeah, in this one he is. Yeah, that was dope.
It's huge.
But in this Arkham Knight, he's really older, right? But it's really funny.
It's pretty buff.
Yeah, so I think that's the concept. It's just that there will always be the Batman over Gotham, and it's really dope that they're using the Scarecrow's fear toxin and stuff. So he could have helped develop it. He went to jail at the end. So I love it. I think it wraps it up just really nicely. This leads me to believe that I don't think WB Montreal are going to make new Arkham games. It's possible that they do new Batman games, but I don't know. But okay, so now the last topic to wrap it up is what do you want from the next Batman game? Like, if assuming they reboot it, because I mean they could do Arkham stuff forever, sure, but I think it's done now.
I think it's gonna be Justice League.
Okay.
I think it would really.
You think Rocksteady would do Justice League?
No, I think Rocksteady's done. I think they're gonna go make something else.
Okay.
Because they wanted to wrap this up for a while, and they just needed more time. Hence why Origins came out.
Yeah.
So I think they're done with the Batman game. So I think that they're really gonna push Montreal, no matter what, if we like it or not. And they're gonna make new Batman.
Because they did say Origins is continuity. Like there's very few references to Origins, but there are a few, like Bane's armor is there and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure it's continuity. But nonetheless, like I think that Montreal's gonna take over the mantle of Batman, and I think that they will reboot it along with pushing the Justice League.
So yeah, so I think that is what's gonna happen, but I think this is the way that they should do it because in Night there's a lot of posters referencing the Flash, referencing Green Arrow. There's some guards who say like, "Who do you think you are, Superman?" Mm-hmm. So Superman exists, that's kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, Green Arrow, Flash, Superman, freaking John Johns in the GCPD.
Yep.
Martian Manhunter, which is like one of my favorite characters. I don't think I saw any Wonder Woman stuff, but
nope. Black Canary. We saw.
Black Canary and I don't know, just a lot of stuff like that. The Birds of Prey, So there's Black Canary,
Huntress,
and Batgirl, So there's a lot of different stuff like that. A lot of references to again apparently the whole Justice League. You know, I really like that concept.
Solomon Grundy could be Justice League. Come on.
So I think this is how they should do it. If WB Montreal, you know, insists on being a part of it, I would like Rocksteady to take over, because I think that everyone wants them to do a Superman game, because how they revived Batman, could you imagine them doing a completely different Superman game? That'd be cool. But what I want is, I don't really care at the studio, but I want a studio to work on a Justice League game. And I want the studio to incorporate Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, probably the ones who we're going to see in the movies, right? Because it does two things. I mean, you know, Aquaman, how dope would that be? It's going to be a very complicated game to do. I mean, but again, I wanted it for Avengers for a long time as well. Very complex game. It's going to have to be open world, and probably going to be able to switch characters, maybe just 2 characters at a time, something like that. I don't know how it's going to work, but that's what I want. I want it just a game. And then have WB Montreal do like the spin-off Batman games, you know?
You keep pushing Rocksteady to do things they don't
want
to
do. No, I'm not saying it doesn't have to be Rocksteady.
Poor Rocksteady.
But ideally, I would like them to. Justice League.
They want to go make a Strawberry Shortcake game, and you will allow them to?
They can find someone else, like Avalanche, or I don't know who else to do it, but someone else do it.
Coalition.
And then, and then you can have Montreal do like the spin-off Batman games, because I don't know if it's possible to do like
so sad you put Montreal down there.
Yeah, I don't want to do Justice League.
You guys work on the mobile one.
Yeah. But I don't think, like, I think Superman could carry his own game, but I don't think Flash could. I don't think Green Lantern could. I don't think Martian Manhunter could.
I hate the Mario water level, so I can't do Aquaman. I'm
as
sure
well, yeah. It's also kind of weird, you know. So yeah. So that's my theory. That's what I would like to see happen in Justice League, and then do spin-off Batman games forever.
I think that's a very good plan.
Yeah.
That's a very good plan.
So